They say that history is where you find it. And here in Central Park today, we're going to take that concept to the test. We're going to show you that there's history literally under every footstep you take in this city.
I'm Chris Epting. I'm a writer and a storyteller, the author of several books and many articles about Huntington Beach. And what I like best is uncovering history that you may not be familiar with. This is Hidden Huntington Beach. William Slater, born in Galveston, Texas, moved to the area now known as Huntington Beach in the early 1890s when he was a young boy. Within 25 years or so, he had acquired farmland near what is today Central Park. This local pioneer farmer, along with his second wife Ruth, raised celery, sugar beets, and later lima beans during the 1940s and 50s. Of course, Slater Avenue is named for him, but what secrets did he leave behind on his old family farm? Brandon DeHaas loves history. History you can see and history that's hidden from view. As a metal detectorist, he uses his skill to locate and then uncover hidden pieces of history. For years, he's been discovering rare artifacts right here in Huntington Beach, and he agreed to show us how he does just what he does. So Brandon, we're at Central Park in Huntington Beach. We're on Gothard between Slater and Talbot.
Right.
Big names in Huntington Beach history.
Right.
One in
absolutely.
particular, Slater, plays a part in why we're standing right here, right?
Correct.
What was right here?
So this would have been the ranch house.
The Slater Ranch House.
The Slater Ranch House, the outbuildings, their farm maintenance
Right
shop, all would have been right here. This would have been the residence, and you would have had a couple shop houses along the side there. And then, of course, the farming going on down the hill. And just past that would have been what was called the privy pit. Back then, we didn't have the city dumps that we can go to today and dump everything, so they pretty much dig a giant pit out by the side of the house, and everything would go in there.
I would imagine for what you do, the privy pit is the ultimate, right?
It is, and it kind of goes with the old saying, one man's trash is another man's treasure, because this stuff has been there so long that it's fascinating, because they would, when silverware was used or they got a new set, they would toss it into the privy pit. Dishes, bottles, medicine bottles, broken clocks.
So with a privy pit, you're basically able to reconstruct a family's life cycle from beginning to end, right?
Very much so, yeah. And even going down through the layers of the privy pit, you get to the older stuff, and so you can kind of see this timeline of their life. I mean, you'd be amazed at the stuff they threw back in the privy pits back then. Like, again, there was no dump, so the dump was on the side of the house.
You've told me about the privy pit. You have to take us there and show us
All right.
what it is, what you do at the privy pit, okay?
Absolutely.
All right, let's do it.
Let's go.
So we're down here at the privy pit now, but on the walk over, I heard your detector going off. What's happening with that exactly?
Right, the metal detectors, you have the ability to discriminate out certain metals. I don't have that set on right now. I have it to pick up everything. So what we're getting is some iron hits. And I can see on my screen right here that the nail here means iron, and then we move into more of the alloy type metals. So when I'm detecting, I'll look for the iron hits, and then I'll go ahead and keep moving around till I see kind of a bounce around in alloys, and then kind of check that area more.
Okay, once you find your target spot, you talk about cutting what's called a plug, right? What's that process like? How does it work? What are the considerations you put into it?
Well, digging, it's very important that you do what's called plugging. We use a tool for that. It looks like this. We make a nice clean circle that goes down beneath the root structure of the grass. We set the plug aside, we dig the item out, we put the plug back in, and you're not killing the grass. The grass continues to grow as long as you're doing it properly. So a nice round plug, pull it out, dig your item, put it back in, and you know, you never want to cut through roots or anything that are going to be
You're really
destructive.
careful.
Yeah.
It's always important, of course, to check ordinances to make sure that where you are is safe, legal, and approved. We did that here with Huntington Beach and Central Park, but that's a very important factor, right?
Right. Most parks will have an ordinance sign posted, so you know you should be able to check it on the ordinance sign. But if it's in question, it's always good to contact the city that you're in. Like we're in Huntington Beach, we've been given the clearance to do this. But yeah, always check your ordinance signs and make sure that you're not going to get yourself in trouble, and ultimately be respectful of the way you're doing it and putting it back together so that you're not harming the landscape and you're not going to create a hazard so that people, you know, they're not tripping into holes.
We're here at the Privy Pit. Let's keep moving here. You were getting some
Right.
detection earlier. Let's see where else.
Right, we
where
were
else it
picking
leads.
up some iron. So
Right, so you're getting more activity around here.
we
It sounds
are.
like-
We're starting to get some bounces between different metals here instead of just iron. So here I'm starting to pick up some copper along with the iron.
So we're on top of a lot of hidden history right here.
We are on top of a lot. There's a lot beneath our feet. So we're looking for the concentrated areas, and there's a real strong concentration right here. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be a big item, but it's something of interest that I'm definitely going to want to take a look at and see what we've got. So
Why don't you show us how you do it?
absolutely. So this is where the plugging comes into play. Sometimes when you have dirt soil, it makes it a little harder to do the plug than when you have just the grass. So you just kind of do the best you can. We do a circle here. Then we try and get up under that plug.
How deep do you go? Just a couple of inches?
Removing the plug, I'm just going a couple of inches. Now, I may go down deeper once that plug's removed, because now we're just down to soil, and the soil I remove I can put back.
Right.
So as long as I have my intact plug. So now we have what's called a pinpointer, and this will allow us to see if I need to go down much further, or if I'm kind of close to it already. So I'm getting a metal hit there. The closer we get, the faster the beep gets. So we're pretty close to something here. So I'll keep going down a little bit. Oh, we're getting something here, it feels like. And this is where the privy pit comes into play. As you see, there's a piece of glass here.
Right.
So you find that intertwined in here a lot. So we can see here that we got a real nice piece of iron here.
It's big.
It is pretty big, and I think it's actually
And what
keeps
could that
going.
be?
It's hard to tell right now. There's so much iron and stuff from back then. So I've broken it loose.
Wow. Is that an axe head?
That is an axe head. Yeah, it looks like it's split down the middle here, but you can see where the handle went down in here. And that's a really
incredible.
old axe head.
That's heavy.
It is. Yeah,
Oh, this is incredible.
it's fascinating. Yeah. I mean, can you imagine Mr. Slater out here chopping up some firewood for the evening?
Right
and-
here.
Right here, yeah.
This is the ultimate hidden Huntington Beach.
Yeah.
But
And
we walk over it I've walked here 100 times. Where we are right now.
Walked right over it. Yeah, absolutely. And this is actually the second axe head I've now found here. So, and along with a blacksmith's hammer as well. So, you know, when the life of the tool was done, and even the other axe head is completely intact.
It was garbage.
It was just, they'd throw it out. And so again, one man's trash is another man's treasure 100 or so years down the line.
Incredible. Great find.
Well, Brandon, you left the site exactly as you found it. I'm really impressed by that, and that's important, right? You want to leave
Very
everything
important.
intact.
Correct, yeah. You don't want to do any damage. So
All right, now we found that incredible axe head, but you've got plenty of other artifacts at home that you've curated, that you've researched. Would it be possible to go back there now and have you share some of the stories and artifacts with us?
absolutely, I have a fascinating collection, and I think you'll enjoy seeing it.
You lead the way, we will follow.
All right, let's go. Well, here we are.
You were not kidding.
I was not kidding.
This is a museum.
It is a living, breathing museum here, right in my own home.
This is unbelievable. Wait, this is what you were telling me about?
This is it.
This is all pulled from where we just were?
This is all pulled from the Slater Ranch at Central Park.
The privy pit, everything here came?
From the privy pit and the upper part on the hill where the house was sitting. All of this.
Brendan, some things jump out at me, but I want you to walk us through. What are we looking at here?
Sure.
We know this is a cross-section of the Slater's life.
It is.
At the ranch, but describe specifically what you found.
Sure,
here.
so we'll start over here with some of the basic stuff. We have a nice, obviously missing a lot of pieces, but a very nice gold enameled teacup. And then we have this beautiful soup spoon. Yeah, absolutely. And you could see the
this
floral.
ornate floral pattern that's
right.
Oh, that's incredible. And more silverware.
And just
obviously.
some more standard silverware. And this is a metal enameled plate. But this is very interesting here too. And
I see spark plugs, so I'm assuming these are automotive related.
Right,
so
right.
What do you have?
So these are fascinating, and I was able to track down the date on these. But this is, so this would be a wind wing rear view mirror that would have been mounted up high on the cab next to the window with that, a lot of it's missing there.
What kind of car?
We're talking about, and I was able to date it by the fact that these keys that have Ford engraved on them and have a serial number, and serial number corresponds with a 1921 Ford Model T.
Wow.
And here you have the Schrader valve for filling up the air in the tires, the very long Schrader valve. Of course, the spark plugs.
What's this?
This is affectionately referred to as the turtle, and so you have 4 prongs sticking out here, and this was the distributor cap that ran to the 4 spark plugs, 4-cylinder vehicle.
Incredible.
Yeah.
The Slater, one of their family cars, presumably.
Absolutely, yeah.
What else? Okay, I see a razor.
Yep. So what we have here is a gem cutlery razor, and that dates probably somewhere between 1910 to 1930. And this would have been the razor that Mr. Slater shaved with.
Is that a cane handle?
That is a cane handle. It's seen better days, but it is certainly the cane handle where the cane would come down here.
Could have been Mr. Slater's.
Could have been, and likely was, or even maybe Mr. Slater's father. And then we have a couple pocket watch casings that belonged to the family. This one's a little more intact. This one has been crushed up over the years of going through the pit there.
It's really just trying to take the whole table in.
It's a lot.
And make sense of it that this was all just underfoot, what we just experienced with you
Inches.
at Central Park.
Inches.
That this was all there. I mean, looking at this, the thing that, just taking it in, the thing that really jumps out to me is this picture frame.
That picture frame is gorgeous, and it's, I found it in 2 different pieces. They were about 6 inches apart in 2 different holes, and it's got a really beautiful design on the back. But the front here, there's 2 small jewels here, but this is a piece of black onyx that's been carved out, and there's tiny hand-carved flowers that were carved and inserted into that. And when I found it, there was actually still the broken glass in there in the frame.
Wow.
So a lot of stuff back then, just ended up in the privy pits.
What are some of these other pieces that we see?
You've talked about in a lot of other episodes, and there's a lot of interest in the Bolsa Chica Gun Club, but a lot of these ranch properties, you could hunt on your property. And a lot of these properties had water reserves, reservoirs for the farming. So we have a bunch of different shotgun shells here that date from the turn of the century all the way up to around 1940, 1950. And then you have some standard hunting round bullets.
This is a waffle iron over here.
That is a waffle iron. So, you know, Slater's Sunday morning breakfast, you know, making homemade waffles.
Can you date that? It's got some markings.
It does have
on
a date on it of 1910, so that would have been a manufacture date. So, you know, who knows how...
When they got it.
Right.
What about the bottles? They're beautifully maintained. And
They are, and you kind of go through the different eras of time that they were there. We have this one here, this is still sold today and still used by people, but this is engraved here, and this would have been a cork top. So this puts us somewhere around the turn of the century when we were using cork tops and not screw-ons. But this is a Mrs. Stewart bluing agent. So that, you know, we still use it today to bring some blue back into our, you know, old blue jeans or that type of thing. And this one is a really fascinating shaped bottle. We just don't see stuff like this anymore, but this would have been olive oil. So this would have been an olive oil bottle, and it actually has a glass top to it, which is, it's very cool.
What's this one?
So back then they have the same problem we still have today, ants. So this would have been a bottle of Antrol, and it's engraved. So they would set this down flat. The ants would go in.
Oh, so it's a trap.
It's a trap, and there would be a chemical agent in there that would kill them off, and they'd throw that out into the privy pit.
We found an axe head while we were out there.
We did.
We have another axe head here that's in much better shape.
This one is in really good shape, and this one is much heavier than the one we found today. This one could actually still technically be used.
Wow.
It's it's hefty.
It's got some weight to it.
It's hefty, and you could see, you know, you could stick a handle back in there and use it again, but you could see how much it was used, that pounding on the back of it has actually deformed the back of the axe.
Listen, I want to thank you because you approach this as a historian, not just as a collector or a treasurer.
Right.
You seem to really care about these things. You care about how you leave the ground, where you find them, but even the way you display them and everything here in your home, it's clear that these matter to you and you're all about preserving history.
It does, 100%. I mean, it matters deeply, very much so. Very much so. It's tangible history from a time period and a family that mattered to Huntington Beach and the early forming of Huntington Beach as we, you know, the borderline of Wintersburg and Huntington Beach, and as it grew up from farmlands to what we have today.
What an amazing day this has been. I want to thank Brandon very much for just redefining what it's like to walk through Central Park here in Huntington Beach, knowing how much hidden history is right under your feet. It's been an amazing experience. If you haven't joined our Facebook group yet, I want to invite you to go on, look up Hidden Huntington Beach on Facebook. Thousands of people sharing tons of extra stories, photos, home movies. It's a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing you there, and thank you for watching us here.